Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Nun Beis, Amud Beis, 13 lines from the top. The Gemara brings the third machloikis between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, Gabi Hilchos Su'uda. When a person washes his hand in Tfilas Yadayim for the Su'uda, what should he do with the mappa, with the towel that he dries his hands with? Does he keep it with him, next to him on the cushion, or does he put it on the shulchan? According to Beis Shammai, he must take the towel and he must put it on the shulchan. According to Beis Hillel, he puts it on the car, on the keset next to him, the cushion next to him. I want to give an introduction and to review what we said last time, which will help us to get this Gemara clear. In regards to yadayim, stam yadayim, regular hands are considered to be shniyos letuma. Chachamim are goyzer shniyos letuma on the hands of a person. The various levels of tumah are as follows. There's avi avos hatuma, which is a dead body, which somebody or a keli who gets in contact with a dead body has this tumah from a avi avos hatuma, and because of an avatuma. Other avos hatuma are a nevela or a dead sheretz, a zav or mitzara. When something comes in contact with that avatuma, they become rishon letuma. The rishon letuma is only metame oichlin umashkim, food and drink, making it into a shnia, sheni letuma. Therefore, the sheni letuma is only metame truma and kodesh. Now, going back to our hands, the yadayim askonios that chachamim were goizer the shniyas letuma, our hands, therefore, although they will not metame chulin, we said only sheni is metame a shlishi of truma or kodesh, but the chachamim also made a gzeira that one needs to wash his hands when he partakes in a bread meal in a su'uda of pas. And therefore, they said that because they wanted to get people accustomed to washing their hands before partaking in food, specifically in truma. So everybody, because of srach truma, must wash their hands before partaking in a meal. Now, in addition to yadayim that are shniyos that must wash their hands, there also is tibule mashke, whereby the chachamim said a person must wash their hands before taking a fruit or a vegetable that is wet, either with water or with vinegar or other types of liquid like honey or like oil, etc. Now, the tibule hamashkim, these fruits and vegetables that are wet, they can metame a tumah of rishon, and not only are they metame tumah of rishon, but they also not only make rishon the tumah, but they also affect not only oichlin umashkim, but they will also affect the kalim as well. So they are becoming rishon l'tum. With that introduction, let's see the Gemara together. Ton Rabbanan, Beis Shammai oimrim mekaneach yodov b'mape umeinicha al hashulchan. Beis Shammai is the opinion that after you wash your hands and Tfilas Yadayim for the su'uda, you take the towel and you keep it on the table. Now, why do they have the towel? Because throughout the meal they wipe their hands. So where do you keep the towel? According to Beis Shammai, you keep it on the shulchan, on the table. The Gemara says, She'im ata oimer ala keses, because if you leave the towel next to you on the cushion, gzeira shemi yitamu mashkin shebemape, machmas hakeses, v'yachsu v'yitamu es hayadayim. Then perhaps the mashkim will metame the mape, whereby the mappa, after washing one's hands, did not become completely dry, and thereby the keses that was already tameh will then affect the tumah of the liquid, the droplets that are on the towel. V'yachzu v'yitamu es hayadayim, and then they will touch the hands and metame the yadayim. I asked the Gemara, v'nitme keses lemape. Let us say that the keses alone will already metame the mape. Why do you have to come on to the fact that there's droplets that are still not completely absorbed into the towel? Says the Gemara, "Ein kli metame kli." A kli is not metame another kli. Ivanipma keses legavra gufe. Say the keses, the cushion, will metame the person. Says the Gemara, "Ein kli metame adam," and therefore you have to have the concern about the droplets becoming tamei and then causing the tuma after that. Ubeis Hillel oimim. The Brisa goes on to say, "Ala keses," that you put the towel next to the keses, next to the cushion next to you. She'im ata oimer ala shulchan, because if you leave the towel on the table, gzeira shema yitmu mashkim shebemapa. There's a gzeir perhaps that the mashkim that are not completely dry will then be on the mappa, on the towel. Machmas hashulchan, and become tamei from the shulchan which is tamei. V'yachzu v'yitamu es ha'oichlin, and then in return will then metame the oichlin. So the concern is that those droplets will become tamei from the shulchan and metame the oichel. Ask the Gemara, "V'litame shulchan la'oichlin shebesoichoi." Let us say that the oichel, the shulchan rather, will be metame the oichlin directly. Answers the Gemara, "Hacha b'shulchan sheni askinon ve'in sheni oise shlishi bechulin." Since the shulchan is only a sheni of tuma, shniois, it's not metame shlishi bechulin. We said it's only metame truma and kodesh, but chulin not. Ela idei mashkin, except via mashkin. So now the Gemara asks, "B'mai kamifli?" What is the machlokes then between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai ultimately? Beis Shammai savri also lishtamish b'shulchan sheni gzeir mishum oichlei truma. Beis Shammai is of the opinion you can never use a table that is sheni letuma because of a concern of oichlei truma. Those who will eat truma, the kohanim will eat truma, and they'll become tamei, and you'll have to then disqualify the truma and burn it. Ubeis Hillel savri muta lishtamish b'shulchan sheni. Beis Hillel is not concerned about that, because oichlei truma is zrizin heim. The kohanim are zrizin, they're going to be careful. Dover acher, ein netilas yadayim lechulin min haTorah. Beis Hillel adds that there's no netilas yadayim lechulin min haTorah, and therefore, the way that you don't put the towel on the shulchan, but rather you put it next to you. My davar acher. What is the additional thing that Beis Hillel added as the Gemara, the davar acher? This is what Beis Hillel was responding to Beis Shammai. Why do you make this distinction between oichlin and yadayim? By oichlin you're concerned about, but yadayim not. I'll still say that this is even better. Since there's no such thing as hands becoming tamei from the Torah, it's only a person's body, but not his hands only. Then mutav sheyitmu yadayim, the leslu ikar midiraisa. Then it's better that the yadayim become tamei, since there's no such thing as tuma midiraisa for yadayim. V'ayitamu oichlin, the islu ikar midiraisa, and not the metame oichlin, which does have an ikar midiraisa, because a rishon can make oichel a sheni letuma. Now the Gemara brings the next machlokes in the Mishnah between Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, and Hilchos Seuda. Here, Beis Shammai says, in regards to then, after the meal, when it's time to wash mayim achroinim, so he says, first, mechabdin es habayis, all of the peruim and all of the leftover bread, sweep it up, and then wash your hands mayim achronim, and then say birkas hamazon. Whereas Beis Hillel says, no, you first wash mayim achronim, and say birkas hamazon, and then you are mechabdin es habayis. Says the Gemara, Tonu Rabbon, bringing a brisa. Beis Shammai oimrim mechabdin es habayis ve'achar kach noitlin liyadayim. Beis Shammai is the opinion that you first mechabed the bayis, you sweep the home around the shulchan, if it's a table, or if you're reclining on the floor, then around the ground, you sweep first, and then you wash your hands. Mayim achronim. Shim ata oimer noitlin liyadayim techila. Nimtza ata mafsid es ha'oichlin, because if you wash mayim achronim first, the water will go on the ground, and it will then cause the bread to become disgusting and unusable. Aval netilas yadayim leBeis Shammai techila, lo svira lehu, my time mishum peruvim. The Gemara explains this shita that the Brisa just stated, that when it comes to netilas yadayim, Beis Shammai is concerned not to make Nesilas Yadayim first, as not to disqualify, to ruin the Perurim that is in the ground. The Brisa continues and says the opinion of Beis Hillel. Ubeis Hillel oimrim im shamish talmid chacham hu noitel peruim sheyesh bohen kezayis umenech peruim she'ein bohen kezayis. If there's a shamish, he'll be a talmid chacham, and thereby he'll take all the peruim that are a size of a kezayis, remove them, and there's no concern about ruining the bread. Says the Gemara, Messiah le Rabbi Yochanan. This is support for Rabbi Yochanan. The Omer Rabbi Yochanan for Rabbi Yochanan said the following: Perurin she'ein bahem kazayis muter la'avdon biyad. Perurin that don't have the size of a kazayis, then you can go ahead and destroy them. There's not a concern of throwing them out. Says the Gemara, what's the machlok is ultimately between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, and why is Beis Shammai so adamant to first be mechabed es habayis before washing his hands, whereas Beis Hillel says to do the opposite? Beis Hillel savei also lishtamish b'shamish im am haaretz. Beis Hillel is of the opinion you can't use a shamish who's an am haaretz, and therefore, if he's since he's a shamish tamach chacham, he'll make sure that the peruim bigger than a kazayis will be taken off the table, off from the ground. Ubeis Shammai savei muter lishtamish b'shamish am haaretz. Rav Yosi bar Chanino, Rav Huna, Bekule Pirkin Halacha ke Beis Hillel, Bar Meho, the Halacha Beis Shammai. All of the machlokes that we find between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, the halacha is like Beis Hillel, except for this halacha. When it comes to Mayim Achronim, you first have to machabed the bayis, get rid of all of the perurim, and then wash Mayim Achronim and bench. Rabbi Yoshaya Masni Ibcha. Rabbi Yoshaya, he flipped around the opinions, and he said that really it's Beis Hillel that says you have to mechabi nes habayis, and then afterwards wash mayim achronim. And therefore, Rabbi Yoshaya goes on to say, Uvaho nami halacha ki Beis Hillel. And in this, indeed, the halacha is also like Beis Hillel. The Gemara brings now the next machlokes in the Mishnah between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel gabe havdalah. Rav Huna bar Yehuda ikloi lebei Rava. The Gemara tells that Rav Huna, the son of bar Yehuda of Yehuda, he went to visit Rava. Chazia lerava de borich abesamim bereisha, and he saw that Rava, when he made havdalah, he first made the bracha on besamim. Omarle michti Beis Shammai u Beis Hillel amaor lo pligi. When it comes to the bracha on ner, on eish, there's no machlokes in Beis Hillel and Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. This nan, like it says in the Mishnah, Beis Shammai ner is first, umozim besamim v'havdalah. Beis Hillel ner is first, ubesamim mozim v'havdalah. The machlok is not in regards to the first bracha. Everybody agrees the first bracha is on eish, on the ner. Oni Rava Basrei, Rava answered him, Zu divrei Rabbi Meir. This is the Mishnah, is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Aval Rabbi Yehuda oimer lo nechelku Beis Shammai Beis Hillel al hamozoin shehu betchila ve'al havdalah shehu besoif. They're not arguing about the beginning and the end of the havdalah. They agree that the mazon is in the beginning and the havdalah is at the end. Al ma nechelku, what are they arguing about? Says Rabbi Yehuda explained the machlokes Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. Al hamaor ve'al besamim. Shebeis Shammai al hamaor ve'achar kach besamim. Ubeis Hillel besamim ve'achar kach meor. V'om Rabbi Yochanan nahagu ha'am ke Beis Hillel al libo de Rabbi Yehuda. And therefore, it's matzdik. It justifies Rava's way of making havdalah by first making a bracha on the besamim. And indeed, that's the minhag, that's the halacha that we follow. The Gemara goes on to explain Beis Shammai omim shebara, in regard to the bracha of the eish, of the ner, on Motzei Shabbos or Motzei Yom Tiv, Motzei Shabbos rather. What is the nusach of that bracha? Omar rove bebara kuliyamo lo pligi, the bara mashma. In regards to the word bara, it refers to the past tense, and everybody agrees to that. There's no machlokes. The word bara is referring to that which was created on Motzei Shabbos, and that was referring to the eish. Ki pligi bebari. They're arguing about the word bore. Does Borei have the mashmos also of the past, or only of the present and future? Says the Gemara, Beis Shammai savrei Borei de'osid lemivra, uBeis Hillel savrei Borei nami de'bora mashma. Beis Shammai holds that it's referring to only the future. When you say the word Borei, it's now and in the future, whereas Beis Hillel says Borei has a reference to the past as well. Mosi Rav Yosef asks, Yoitzer or uborei choshech, Yoitzer horim uborei ruach, and a third pasuk, Borei hashomayim v'notem. It certainly refers to the past. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created all of these things. Elom Rav Yosef bebora uborei, in both words, Bora and Borei. Kuli amaloi pligi de Bora mashma. Everybody agrees, including Beis Shammai, that it refers to the past. Even the word Borei. What is the machlokis? Ki pligi b'ma'or. They're arguing about the word ma'or. U'ma'orei. The Beis Shammai sovrei chad nehura ike benura. There's only one type of flame one type of light in the flame, and therefore you say ma'or. Whereas Beis Hillel savrei tuva nehuri, there are several lights ike benura inside of the flame. There's red and orange and yellow. Tanya mihochi. We also have a brayso like this. Amru lehem Beis Hillel Beis Shammai harbe me'oros yesh be'or. There are many lights in the fire itself, and therefore we say me'orei. Again, going on the nusach of the bracha, ein mevarchin v'chulei, says the Gemara, bishlam ner mishum deloi shovas. I understand ner. We make a bracha on the ner because it wasn't used on Shabbos. And therefore we can't use the ner that was used by a goy because it was not shovas. Ele basamim, my time alone. Why can't you use the basamim of a goy? Om Rav Yehud, Om Rav, hacha b'mesibas goyim askinon. Mimnei shestam mesibas goyim la'avodah zarahi. Because if it belongs to a goy, the stama is that the goy uses it for a mesibas goyim, and that's for avodah zarah, and therefore you can't make hana and make a bracha on that besamim. Ask the Gemara, if that's for avodah zarah, how does that fit with the seifa of the Mishnah? Hamediktani seifa ein mevarchin lo ala ner v'lo ala besamim shal avodah zarah. Michlal the reisha laba avodah askinon. Since it says in the seifa, the reason why you cannot make a bracha on the besamim of a goy is because of avodah zarah. But the reisha implies that it's not because of that reason. Answers the Gemara the Sefer comes to explain the reisha. Amrav Chanina Mesura. Ma tam kolmar. It's giving a reason. Ma tam ein mevarchin lo ala ner v'lo ala besamim shel goyim. What's the reason why you cannot make a bracha on the ner or on the besamim of a goy on Motzei Shabbos? Mimnei shestam besibas goyim la'avodah zarah. Because, as the Sefer explains, because the stam besibas goyim is for avodah zarah, and therefore it's off limits to have hana from those besamim and those ner and make a bracha on it. Tan Rabban, the Gemara brings the brayso ur sheshavas mevarchin lov. A fire that was shavas, that was not used on Shabbos, you make a bracha borei morei ha'esh. V'shelo shavas ein mevarchin lov. However, if it was not shavas, the brayso says you cannot make a bracha on that ur. My shavas and my lo shavas. The Gemara asks, what does it mean that it was shavas and not shavas? Inei lo shavas. Machmas melacha. If you want to say it was not shavas because of malacha, it didn't do malacha throughout Shabbos, then afilu malacha dehetera. Then even malacha that is mutter you cannot use on Motzei Shabbos. Vehatanya, and it says in the brayso, ur shel chaya v'shel choyle mevarchin alav. If it's a fire of a woman who just gave birth or an ill person, then you can make a bracha on it, even though it was used throughout Shabbos, because it was used by hetera. It was used for meleches aveira, and therefore that which was prohibited to be used for, and therefore a goy's eish cannot be used on Motzei Shabbos. Tanyami hochi, ashoshi shehaisa dolekis v'holeches kol hayoim kuloi lemotzei Shabbos mevarchin aleo. If there is a lamp that was used for a heter purpose, like we said, either for a choyle or meyaledes, they can be used also for the bracha of Borei Ma'orei Ha'esh on Motzei Shabbos.